There's a separate video tutorial for my bee pot holders, and for one bee I show all of the different yarn skeins that I used, and I only needed one skein of each of the colors for one bee. And then for the second bee I did have to get another skein, not more than 2 skeins. And then with the leftover skein that I used for my pot holders, I used for my amigurumi bees like I showed you. I show the 2 different methods for the antennas on my amigurumi bees. Here's the face on one of the bee hot pads. Here's the face on the other one. Here's the color with the green eyes for the amigurumi bee. And then I show the brown eyes with my other amigurumi bee. I just wanted to show you a close-up of the book that I got to go with my bees, my amigurumi bees. And this book was written by Drew Dozier and illustrated by Israel Dillian. Hope I pronounced that right. Might be Deline. And then the graphics are gorgeous inside, as you can see. And it just tells the story of the bee. And here it just tells you what the story's about. That the bee actually is very important, even though he doesn't realize how important he really is. I just wanted to show a close-up of some of the honeycomb. You can see how you take a little bit of a square of the honeycomb and you could put it onto a fruit tray, some cottage cheese in the center. And then here's some honeycomb inside of honey. And these are from Temecula Valley Honey Company. This one is their wildflower honeycomb. These would make great gifts. Here's my pot holder. And then you can make the pot holder hold a kitchen towel. This is an embroidered kitchen towel with a bee on it. The other thing I made, I have these for free download on my Helenmay Crochet YouTube channel Facebook group. It's free to join my group. And in my files I have these to download. Basically has 15 sweet facts about bees, fun facts. And then you have some coloring pages. There's a little rhyme about honeybees. More coloring pages, and then a little crossword. You can find stuff like this online. It's free for download, but I put them all together in my Facebook group if you wanted to go in my files to get these. Here's another coloring page. Another coloring page. A few coloring pages here. And then on the back I just put another one with the flower and the bees. Just something fun that you can put with your bee if you're giving it as a gift. For this crochet project you're going to need your 5mm crochet hook as well as your 3.75mm crochet hook. You're also going to need a tapestry needle and a pair of scissors. For this crochet project, you're going to need some craft wire in order to get the antenna, the bee antenna, to stand up straight. The craft wire that I used, I got from Walmart. It's a 16 gauge, but you could use a 20 gauge or an 18 gauge. Just something with a little bit of thickness to help hold up the bee antenna. It doesn't matter what color you get because you're just going to cover it anyway. You're not going to be able to see it. I like this craft wire because you can just cut it with a pair of scissors. The yarn that I used, this is from Pound of Love. It's a large amount of yarn, skein of yarn. You only need one of these and you'll have plenty left over. For the eyes, the bee antenna, and the bee's body, I used I Love This yarn. It's a metallic. The color is black. This is some information about this yarn for those that want an equivalent yarn. For the cheeks and nose and mouth on this one, I used a red heart yarn. So if you like that look, this is the yarn that I used for that. You're only going to need one skein of this yarn. Pretty in pink. For this project, I'm going to be using my Caron Simply Soft for the nose and the mouth and the cheeks. And this color is watermelon. And of course you only need one skein of this yarn. For the wings, I'm using I Love This yarn, metallic. The color that I chose is ivory. Here's some information on this yarn for those that want to get an equivalent yarn. If you like the brown eyes, I used Caron Simply Soft. The color is chocolate. Here's some information on this yarn. And this is what the eye looked like with the chocolate. For this project, I'm using my green yarn for the eye. I used Caron United. The color of the yarn that I used is fresh green. Here's some information regarding this yarn and the color if you want to match it. For the eyes, I use this red heart yarn. It has a sparkle in the white yarn. It's an acrylic yarn. I don't have the tag for this one, but it's a red heart yarn and it has a glittery strip through it, and it's a white colored yarn that I'm using for the eyes. I like it because it gives a little sparkle to it. If you can't find that yarn, Caron Simply Soft white yarn would be fine to use. So you would just use a white version of this type of or style of yarn. So I got these from Michael's. It comes in a pack of 2 from Charmalong. It's 2 bracelets, and then also they have these adorable charms that can go on the bracelet. I have one of a bee and one of a heart, and I'm making them both the same, so I have a heart and the bee. And then inside of the heart actually opens up, so you can put stuff inside. And I'm going to use these medallions. Have little crosses and angels from Blue Moon Beads. Comes with 5 pieces. They fit perfectly inside, and then it clasps shut. Then the bee and the heart clasp right onto the bracelet, and then the bracelet opens up as a necklace for your bee. To start, we're going to start with the head, and you're going to use your yellow yarn. We're going to start with a magic circle, and I'm also using my 5mm crochet hook for the head. So you just take your yarn, just drape it across your 4 fingers, use your thumb to stabilize, wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers, and then hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Take your crochet hook, go under those 2 loops, bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to place 6 single crochet into the magic circle. There's 1. 2. 3. And the last one. So 6 single crochet into the magic circle. Then you take your forefinger and thumb, hold the base of the 6 single crochet. You can see how I'm holding my crochet hook. You have these 2 loops on the opposite side. Go ahead and pull on one of them. If it doesn't close, let go and pull on the other one, but this one's closing. So just gently close it. Don't worry if it doesn't close completely. You can always close it more later. Then take that loose yarn end and pull on that. Then just turn your work, and we're going to work into that first stitch in the round. So just take your crochet hook, go into that first stitch. You're going to make 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And then you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches, and then come back. So now you should have 12 stitches in the round. If you need to, go ahead and turn your work over and just pull on that loose yarn end. That will close up the center of your magic circle. And for beginners, I would recommend counting your stitches. So I'm just going to use my tapestry needle to show you. So here would be your first stitch, so that counts as 1. Here's your second stitch. So you would have 12 stitches all the way around. Now you're going to need your yarn marker for the next increase round. And increase round means we're going to increase the number of stitches in your round. Remember, we started with 6, now we have 12, and we're going to increase it again by 6 more stitches. So by the time we're done, we should have 18 stitches. So just take your yarn marker. I just use one of my scraps of yarn. Place it right where you left off. For the next increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker. So 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. Go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker, and then come back. So you should be back to the yarn marker, and you should have 18 stitches in the round. Go ahead and move your yarn marker up for your next increase round. And we're going to be working consecutively, for those of you that already know how. And I'm going to be working all the way up to 1 single crochet into 8 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 9th stitch. So I'm going to work a couple of them with people who are new. So for the next increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker. I'm going to make one more set with you. So 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch. Then go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker. So now you should have 24 stitches in the round, and as you notice, we're increasing each round by 6 stitches, and also we're moving consecutively. So that last round was 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch. So for this round, it's going to be 1 single crochet into 3 stitches. So you can see the pattern that we're creating. 1 single crochet into 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 4th stitch. Then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now you can go ahead, move your yarn marker up to the next round, and for the next round, you guessed it, 1 single crochet into 4 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 5th stitch. You're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then for the next increase round, you move your yarn marker up and you're going to make 1 single crochet into 5 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 6th stitch, and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. This is how my work looks so far. So then your next increase round will be 1 single crochet into 6 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 7th stitch. Go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. And you can see how it just keeps getting larger and larger and larger, which is what we want as we're increasing the number of stitches in the round. So for the next round, you're going to be making 1 single crochet into 7 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 8th stitch. Then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So now this is what my work looks like so far. This is the head. And I just finished the round where I made 1 single crochet into 7 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 8th stitch. Now I want you to set this aside, and you're going to take your black sparkly yarn or whatever yarn you're using for the body, the black portion of the body of your bee, and you're going to make it the same way that you made the head. So go ahead and take your black yarn and make the start of the body. So I just finished the round where I made 1 single crochet into 7 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 8th stitch. You can see how the body is larger than the head, and that is because you're using a different yarn. So you can see how yarn choice can make a difference. So just keep that in mind as you're making your bee. But I like mine this way, so I'm just keeping the pattern the same. So you're going to make the body or start the body the exact same way that you did for the head, and then you're going to stop after you finish the 1 single crochet into 7 stitches and 2 single crochet into the 8th stitch. As soon as you finish making this, go ahead and set it aside. And when we're finished with the head and we come back to the body, this is where I'm going to start. Now for the head, I'm going to continue on. So I'm going to make 1 more increase round for the head. So the body, I stopped at 1 single crochet into 7 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 8th stitch. But for the head, I'm going to make 1 more increase round. So I'm going to make my last increase round for the head, which would be 1 single crochet into 8 stitches. And then I'm going to make 2 single crochet into the 9th stitch. And then I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now we're finished with our increase rounds for the head. So I have a total of 60 stitches all the way around, and you're going to maintain that number of stitches for the next 10 rounds. So you just take your your yarn marker and move it up. And this time you're not going to remove the yarn marker. You're just going to keep on crocheting in the round until you've completed 1 single crochet in every stitch for 10 rounds. So you can see that I'm coming up on my yarn marker, and I'm just going to keep on crocheting in the round. I'm not going to remove the yarn marker. And I'm going to continue making 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So when you pass your yarn marker, you should still have your 60 stitches of 1 single crochet for every stitch. You should not be increasing the number of stitches or decreasing the number of stitches if you're doing it correctly. And you're going to continue this all the way around for 10 rounds and then come back. This is how your work should look so far. And I just finished 10 rounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of 1 single crochet in every stitch. Now, where you left a large loop, this is going to be the back of the head. So you're going to turn the work so that the front is facing you, and now I'm going to show you how to put the face onto your head. For now, go ahead and set this aside while we make the pieces for the face. So now you're going to get your black yarn, and on the other side I have the body, so I'm using the other end of my yarn. We only need a little bit of it for the eyes. And we're going to start with the magic circle. So just like we did for the head and the body, you're going to start with your magic circle, and then you're going to start with your slip knot. Then you just need 6 single crochet into the magic circle. Then you can go ahead and close the magic circle just like I showed you before. Then you're going to take and just make a slip stitch into that first stitch. So take your crochet hook, go into that first stitch, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and then bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. Now you're ready to join your new color. I'm making a green colored eye, so I'm going to take and hook my green colored yarn, bring up a loop, then just take and cut your previous color. Make sure you leave enough for a loose yarn end. Go ahead and tie a knot. Then you can take your crochet hook and you're going to go into the next stitch over, and you're going to place 2 single crochet into the next stitch. Two single crochet into the next stitch. And then 2 single crochet into the third stitch. So I have a total of 6 stitches with the green colored yarn. Then I'm going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. Now I'm ready to join my white colored yarn. So the same way, I'm going to hook and bring up a loop with my white colored yarn. I'm going to take and cut the previous colored yarn, tie a knot, then I'm going to take and turn my work. I'm going to make 2 single crochet into the next stitch over, And then I'm going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch except for the last stitch. Leave the last stitch unworked and then come back. So I'm going to go back for a minute because sometimes this happens. You'll get a frayed knot in your work. So I went ahead and undid my last stitch. So I have 2 single crochet into that first stitch. But now I'm going to go to that area that has the frayed portion on the yarn. I'm going to cut on both sides of it. And then go ahead and just dispose of that frayed portion. Then you're going to take and just tie a new knot, making sure to leave the long loose yarn ends for burying into your work. That just makes your work stronger and more secure so it doesn't come undone. Then you can just disregard the knot and the loose yarn ends and continue to crochet as you did before. So 2 single crochet in every stitch, except for the last stitch. So with the loose yarn ends, we're going to bury that later and we'll hide the knot when we're finished. Now I have 1 stitch left with the green yarn, so I'm going to take and make a slip stitch into that last stitch. So I'm just going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn my work and then make a single crochet into the first stitch. And then make 1 single crochet in every stitch except for the last stitch. So leave the last stitch unworked and then come back. So now you can see I have 1 stitch left. I'm going to go ahead and make a slip stitch into that last stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the eye onto your project. And then you're going to need 2 eyes. I'm going to show you how to make the white portion and bury the loose yarn ends. You're going to choose which side you want for the right side. So now I want this to be my right side because on the wrong side I have the loose yarn end from the center of the magic circle. So that's going to be the wrong side. On my right side I have that knot that I tied. So I'm just going to take the loose yarn ends and bring them back through to the wrong side, and that brings the knot to the back side. So I'm going to take both of my loose yarn ends from that frayed knot and just bring that through. And then you can't even tell. And then it's also more secure and it doesn't have the frayed portion. So now I'm going to show you the little white portion that goes onto the eye. I'm just taking a little bit of the white yarn and placing it onto my tapestry needle. And then I'm going to come up, and depending on whether this is the right eye or the left eye is where you're going to place the white portion. So just make sure you place it in the right place. So I always put it into the top right corner of the black portion of the eye. So you can see where I'm coming out. And then I'm just going to go, make sure you leave enough of a loose yarn end on the back for burying and tying knots. And then I just go about 1 millimeter or 2 over and then go back down to the back portion of the eye. And then I just tie a knot on the back. Then you just need to make your other eye, and just remember, like I said, when you're making the white portion, make sure that you have the eye facing the way that you want it to face for your amigurumi. And here's just an example of the brown eyes. You can see how I have the white portion placed. Also, I wanted to show you that I used my 5mm crochet hook for this eye. And then if you like the smaller eye, I used my 3.75mm crochet hook for this eye. And so the difference, here's the size difference in the eyes. So just a little bit larger. This is what my eyes look like after I'm finished. Now I'm going to show you how to make the nose and the cheeks. I'm using my 3.75mm crochet hook for the nose and the cheeks. For the nose, you're going to use whatever color pink that you want. I'm using my Caron Simply Soft Watermelon colored yarn. I'm going to take and fold the yarn over on itself to form a loop. Then you just take your crochet hook, put it right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. Then you're just going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for a slip knot. Go ahead and cinch the knot down, and then you leave a little bit of gap around your crochet hook. And then you're going to make a chain. We're going to make a chain of 5. 1, 2, 'So I have a chain of 5. Now you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So you're going to take your crochet hook, you're going to go into the second chain from the hook, you're going to bring up a loop and make a single crochet. So you just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through both loops for a single crochet. Then you're going to go into the next stitch over and make another single crochet, and you're going to make one single crochet in each stitch back across except for the last stitch. In the last stitch, you're going to make 3 single crochet into the same stitch. So in this last stitch, you're going to make 3 single crochet into the same stitch, and as you make those single crochet, you're going to be turning your work because we're going to be working on the opposite side. So I'm putting my last stitch in the end. You're going to work around your loose yarn end and bring up a loop. So I have 3 single crochet in that last stitch, and now you can see how I turned my work upside down. So this is where we made our single crochets. Now we're going to work back across. So you're going to go into the next stitch, and I'm going to carry my loose yarn end and work behind it. So go into that next stitch, go behind your loose yarn end, bring up a loop, make a single crochet. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next stitch. I'm still carrying my loose yarn in and burying it as I work. Then in the last stitch, you're going to make 3 single crochet into that last stitch. After I make 2 single crochet, I'm going to go ahead and cut my loose yarn end and get it out of the way. So there's 1. So making 3 single crochet into that last stitch. So I just made 2. I'm going to go ahead and cut my loose yarn end, get it out of the way. Make sure you don't cut your yarn that you're working with, just the loose yarn end. Then you can go ahead and make your last single crochet in that same stitch. Then you can go ahead and make a slip stitch into the next stitch. So just turn your work, go into that next stitch, and you're going to make a slip stitch. Just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the nose onto your project. Now we're ready to make the cheeks. So again, you're using the same colored yarn for the cheeks. Just drape it across your 4 fingers. We're going to make the magic circle. Use your thumb to stabilize. Wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers and hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Still using my 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. I'm going to bring up a loop, make my slip knot, then I'm going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. Then you can go ahead and close it up. Then you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches. So 2 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 12 stitches, and then come back. This is how your work should look, and you should have 12 stitches in the round. Now you can go ahead and close the center of the magic circle if you need to. Just turn your work over and pull on that loose yarn end, and then that closes it up nicely. I'm going to pull a little bit more. Then you can go ahead and make a slip stitch into your next stitch over. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the cheek onto your project. And then you just need 2 of these. So now you should have all of the pieces ready to sew onto the face, the nose, the 2 cheeks, and the eyes. I'm going to show you how to get the eyes ready to sew them on. So here is the right side of my eye, and I have the long white portion, so I'm going to leave that off to the side. And also you should have the portion that you're going to sew the black portion of the eye. So I have a long loose yarn end that I'm going to use to sew that portion on. If you don't have a long loose yarn end, you just use the same colored black yarn, and then you would just cut the loose yarn end short. So I'm going to show you on the back what I do. So I'm taking these loose yarn ends that I'm not going to be using for sewing, and I'm going to pull them towards the center. So here I have a knot in the center. I'm going to take these loose yarn ends and just bring them over towards the center and then tie a knot. Then I'm just going to take and cut the loose yarn ends short so that they won't stick out as I'm sewing them down. And then here are some loose yarn ends from the frayed knot. I'm just going to cut those short, just enough to where it won't stick out as I'm sewing it down. You don't want it too short because then you have the chance that your knot will come undone, and you don't want that. Then I have these. I'm just going to pull those towards the center and then just cut those short. So now I can hide all of these loose yarn ends on the inside, and I'm ready to sew the eye onto the head. So for the head, I still have my yarn marker in place, and then I have a little bit of a loop where I left off. I'm leaving that in the back, and you don't want to sew around this or get that tangled as you're sewing the face on. So you should be only working on the front portion of the head while sewing the face on. And you can go ahead and just lay it flat for now so you can get an idea where you want to sew the eyes, nose, cheeks, and mouth. Then once I've positioned the eye, which I'm going to show you the placement in a minute, but I'm just showing you how I'm sewing it on, I'm just taking my tapestry needle and I'm just sewing along the outer edge of the eye, making sure that I only sew to the front portion of the head and that all of my loose yarn ends are tucked under as I'm sewing. Then I take the black yarn and then I just sew the black portion down. Then I'm finished. I can just take and tie a knot with the two loose yarn ends on the inside of the head, and then I don't even have to sew the green portion down. I usually just trim the loose yarn ends on the inside, not too close, but just a little bit so they don't get in the way. Now for my large eyes, I place them, here's the magic circle, so I counted down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So right at the top of the 8th round, you could see how I lined up the green portions. You don't want those to be crooked. And then the white portions of the eyes, I have them lined up so that they're equal too. And then between I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. So I'm going to show you the other eyes too. For the smaller eyes, you can see from the magic circle I went down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So still the top of the 8. And then here between I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 to 6 between the eyes. You can see how I lined up the brown portion just so you could see the difference between the two eyes. Now I'm going to show you how to make the eyelashes. So you just take your black yarn on your tapestry needle and you're going to come up with your tapestry needle right at the top. I'm going to go over about 1 stitch at the top of the white portion of the eye. Make sure that you leave enough of a loose yarn end on the inside of the head. Then you're going to go up about 1, 2, 3. Go back down. It's more like 2.5. And I went over 1 stitch. Then I'm going next to it, about 1 millimeter. And I'm going about a stitch over, about halfway down, about an angle for the second eyelash. And then again, about 1 millimeter over. At an angle for the third. And then for the fourth one, I'm going a little bit smaller. And then I just tie a knot on the inside and then repeat the same thing on the opposite side. Just make them look the same. So this is what my eyes look like so far after I put the eyelashes. Now you're ready for the eyebrows. So for the eyebrows, you just get a short amount of the black yarn, double it up, so you have it doubled up. Then you're going to take and go right above the longest eyelash And then you're going to go about a centimeter over, back down at an angle. A little bit of the yellow. And then just tie a knot on the inside, and then you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. This is what mine looks like so far. And I can see that my one eyebrow is a little bit high, so I'm going to redo that one. Okay, that's better. So you can see how I matched the eyebrows. Now I'm going to sew on the nose. This is what my nose looks like after sewing it on. You can see how I centered it between the nose, between the eyes. And you could see that here's the bottom of the eye. So I'm actually up one between the eyes, and that's just how I position mine. This is what it looks like after sewing my cheeks on. You can see that I'm a couple of stitches away from the nose on both sides. Make sure that they're symmetrical or look the same on both sides. And then we're ready to sew the mouth on. Go ahead and place some of the pink yarn onto your tapestry needle. Then you're going to come up from the wrong side, about a row down from the nose, along the nose edge. Leave enough of a loose yarn end on the inside for tying a knot. Then you're going to go a stitch over and a row down to make one edge of the smile. Then you're going to go over 2 stitches on the same row. Go back across for the bottom portion of the smile. Then you're going to go up 1 row and over 1 stitch for the other side of the smile. Then you can tie a knot on the inside. That's how you make the face. And I'm just going to show you a comparison. Here is what the brown eyes look like. In comparison. Now you're going to go back to the back portion of the head and make sure you switch back to your 5mm crochet hook. And we're going to finish closing the head now. So you can take your yarn marker and remove it. Place it right where you left off. And we're going to start our decrease rounds. For your first decrease round, and that means you're going to decrease the number of stitches in the round. You're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 8 stitches. So 1 single crochet into 8 stitches. This is my 6th, 7th, and then my 8th. Now you're going to make your decrease stitch. It's also called single crochet 2 stitches together. So you're going to take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all 3 loops for a decrease stitch. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. I'm going to make 1 more set with you. So 1 single crochet into 8 stitches. Then you're going to make your decrease stitch, or single crochet 2 stitches together. Then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker and then come back. Then go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up. For the next decrease round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 7 stitches and then make your decrease stitch or single crochet 2 stitches together. Then for the next decrease round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 6 stitches and then make your decrease stitch. So now you can see how the opening is getting smaller and smaller as you make your decrease rounds. For your next decrease round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 5 stitches and then make your decrease stitch, repeating that pattern all the way around. Then 1 single crochet into 4 stitches and then your decrease stitch, repeating that pattern all the way around. For the next round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 3 stitches and then your decrease stitch, repeating that pattern all the way around. And at this point is where I usually go ahead and stuff the head, and you can stuff it as you're closing. I just use an inexpensive Walmart pillow for my stuffing, my craft stuffing. Then for the next round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then your decrease stitch, and then just repeat that pattern all the way around. Then you can see how much is starting to close. For the next decrease round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 1 stitch and then your decrease stitch, repeating that all the way around. I'm just going to show you how I'm crocheting so you can see how I'm holding my fingers. I'm just making 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to make a single crochet 2 stitches together or a decrease stitch, and I'm repeating this pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then you can go ahead and remove your yarn marker, and I'm going to make 1 round of just decrease stitches until I can't make decrease stitches anymore, and then I'm going to start slip stitching it closed. So I'm going to make 1 more decrease stitch. Now I'm going to slip stitch it closed. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I keep the yarn over towards the top of the crochet hook. I'm going to take my crochet hook, I'm going to skip a stitch and then go into the next stitch. Then I'm going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And I'm just going to continue that all the way around until the head is completely closed. So I'm pretty much closed. I'm going to make 1 more. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. Now I'm going to show you how to bury the loose yarn end. You just take your tapestry needle, put it onto the loose yarn end. Then you're going to take and go right in where you tied your knot and then come out anywhere on the head. Pull the loose yarn end snug and then just trim it. And now you're finished with the head for now. You can go ahead and shape it. Now we're going to set the head aside and go back to the body. So if you remember, we started the body the same way we did for the head with a magic circle, and then we made our increase rounds, and the last increase round that I made was 1 single crochet into 7 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 8th stitch. Then you're just going to take and move your yarn marker up and you're only going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around until you've completed 3 rounds. After you finish 3 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, come back and I'll show you what to do next. And again, this is going to be the body for your crochet bee. Then, after you've finished your 3 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, you're going to go ahead and take your crochet hook, move it into the next stitch over, bring up a loop. Then you're going to take your yellow yarn, go ahead and hook it and bring it through both loops. And then just take and cut the previous colored yarn, tie a knot. Then you're just going to take your new colored yarn, which is the yellow colored yarn, and you're just going to take and crochet 1 single crochet in every stitch for 4 rounds. So 4 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch.